we're a new organization. We've only been up and going for about a month, but we've had tremendous support. On some days we've raised over $1,000 per day. As we keep tracks and statistics on our website, we've had over 30,000 views on our websites. Donations have increased 1,000% just in the last week. So we're real excited about the opportunities, and we've gotten an amazing inpouring of support. The emails we get from people are really heartening, and we're very excited about what we can do. We still have a very significant debt problem, so we want to keep the pressure on that. And yes, we want people to donate so that we can actually start paying down the nation's debt. There are a lot of people have expressed wonderful support for us. We've had support from across the country and even people outside of the United States. And we know there are a lot more people that would love to be a part of the solution and help save their country if they could just find out about it.
So once someone decides to donate to you, what do you do with their check?
We use most of the money to actually help reduce the nation's debt. Under our program, we have devised it in accordance with federal law, which enables us to give it to the Treasury Department on the condition that it only be used to reduce the public debt. In other words, we're not just giving it to them to spend wildly. We're going to actually pay down the debt.
What happens every day, right? Spending wildly.
Right. We want to avoid that. We think we have a better use for Americans' money. I mean, why should we just, fund programs that we don't agree with or that are just maybe pork legislation or things along those lines when we can actually do something to reduce the debt? Because, the interest we pay on our debt is the fourth largest expenditure of our government. We're worrying about trying to support programs like Medicare and Social Security, create new jobs, build infrastructure. Well, how do you do that when you're spending all your money on interest payments?
Now, isn't that about $500-600 billion a year, something like that now? Do you know?
I believe it's around $400 billion a year.
Yeah.
So have you turned over any money to the U.S. Treasury yet?
Yes, we absolutely have. We've sent checks. What we're trying to do now is we want to pool the money together for a little while so that we can speak with a louder voice. They say that money talks. So if we can go down to Washington with a nice large check, maybe millions of dollars, maybe even more, which I think is feasible, we can say, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Senate Majority Leader, the American people are pulling together, and we're doing our part to help this debt crisis, and we need you to do yours.
So if someone wants to find out more about possibly donating to this effort, where can they go?
Sure. Well, they can go right to our website, which is www.reducethenationaldebt.org. That's all one word. Or they can go ahead on Facebook and look up the same thing, the Association to Reduce the National Debt, or they can Google that name, and they'll get to our website, and you'll find a lot of information there. People can email us. We always respond as quickly as possible. They can call us. We're happy to interact. We're trying to make this an American thing because this is an issue that affects all Americans. It doesn't matter what your economic status is. You guys were talking about the doctors earlier making $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it affects them. It also affects the people that are unemployed. It affects you whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat. This is an American issue. And, people come together in times of crisis, when we have the tornadoes. And
they sure do. We know that here in North Carolina. We've had more than our share of bad weather, and we've had people who've just come to our rescue. Well, Mr. Eisenberg, we're going to follow how this goes for you. Hope to have you back again.
Good luck.
Seth Eisenberg, he's with the Association to Reduce the National Debt.